I talk a lot when I am at clinics about being safe getting on your horse, and I'm really keen, basically to not die. So Bob here had an injury a few weeks ago. He's had a little bit of time off. We've had a couple of little setbacks since then, nothing big, just little things. And so, if I'm going to ride Bob today, I'm going to do my pre-flight check before I hop on. Now, obviously, Bob is saddled and ready to go. He has the halter on. Um, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to move his body parts around and just make sure he's okay. Make sure he's comfortable. Make sure the saddle is sitting on him. Make sure he's comfortable with the saddle. And remembering, of course, Bob has done all that other foundation work of lunging and moving his hindquarters and things like that. So I'm not here today with a horse that doesn't know his groundwork. I'm here with a horse today that knows his groundwork, and now I'm going to put that groundwork into play to make sure I'm safe when I get on. Now, you might also note, because I'm going to lunge him, you might also note I haven't got a stick. When I do my pre-flight checks, I tend not to have a stick on me, generally because, one, I'm going to get on the horse and chances are I'm going to leave it somewhere if I have it with me. But the other reason is because horses at his level are lunging well enough and responding to my body language well enough that they really don't need the stick. However, if you're at a stage where you still need the stick, that's fine. Okay, I'm not worried about that at all. But if you watch when I ask Bob, you can see he moves off my body language pretty well. So here's the thing, okay? Now, Bob had a bit of a tear in a muscle, so here's my chance to check what's going on with him. Now, what's interesting about Bob is I bred him. I've had him here my whole life. And I know when he's not travelling normally. And that's really important for you to know with your horses too. It's really important for you to be aware of when something is different in your horses. And the first thing I can already tell you that is different about Bob at the moment is when he is doing his pre-flight check, his head's a lot lower than normal. Okay, so I know he's a little uncomfortable. I can watch his facial expressions and I can read that and know where he's at. Now, I've just walked a couple of circles. That's always my starting point. Now I'll ask him to trot. You can see I use the tail of my rope, sort of like I would my stick. Now, you might see Bob's gets a little heavy on occasions, but he's just not in the normal shape he would be. So, I'm going to ride him today. Here's my chance to assess whether he's in pain. You can see there's a bit of tail flicking going on. Okay, if you watch the other videos of Bob, that's not normal. Okay, he doesn't do that. But again, this is sort of just me having watched him, and I know where he's at. Now, when he changed direction just then, you might have seen he sort of it was almost like he nearly reared up and pulled himself through the turn. Again, not what we're looking for. If you go back and watch the videos on moving their front end about on the lunge, you can see that is not the sort of turn I want. So again, change. That's better, but there's a tail flick. Again, that's cumbersome. Okay, you can see he's working. Now, I wouldn't say that there's enough wrong with Bob that I need to panic and go and call the vet or whatever, but just watching him today, it tells me that maybe I need to just keep an eye on his injury. Maybe I need to take him quietly today. And the other thing I could do, of course, is keep working him here now. If it's muscle, he might just warm up out of it, and his injury was muscle. So I could lunge him for a bit longer here today, and he would improve. And you will see, the more I do, we're still going to get the tail swish, but here we go. Now we're starting to get more of a step. So now if I ask him again, you can see how the pop is disappearing in the turn. It's like he's actually just stepping across now. So this again tells me he's starting to listen. If he was still trying to jump through the air, or if he was jumping through the air, that would tell me that there's something more majorly wrong with this horse. But you can already see he's moving his front end better now than he was when I first started my circle. And that's what I'm looking for. Okay, that's what I want. I want an improvement. I want to know that he's dialed in and he's listening to me. I want to know that he's feeling comfortable enough. That wasn't so good. He's feeling comfortable enough that when I ask him to do something, he's happy to do it. Okay, now, the other thing is, of course, if Bob's just fresh, if Bob was being a bit naughty, I'd just keep doing this until he felt a little tired and he wanted to listen. But Bob's not doing that today. Bob's telling me that he's a little stiff and a little sore. You know, I did ride Bob yesterday just lightly. I didn't do very much with him because I knew he was feeling a little uncomfortable. But, you know, this is how you look after your horse, okay? This is long term. This is me building a relationship with Bob whereby he knows that I can still work him when he feels a little bit sore. And, you know, look at all of us. You know, how many of you have to go to work every day with a bit of a headache or a sore leg or sore arm or whatever? You know, and sometimes I'm going to ask him to work when he doesn't feel right. So he's comfortable with that. But the other thing is he also knows I'm going to look after him. And I'm not going to make him do a Tom Quilty while he's feeling a bit sore like that. So, you know, I've checked in with him. I know exactly where he's at. If I was going to swing on him now, I'd know what to expect. Or alternatively, I could keep working him a bit longer until I keep getting more improvement like you've just seen. And then when I got on, he'd be 100% dialed in with me and I'd know I was going to have a really good ride.